What's up, folks? So in the beginning of the year, I talked about how I wanted to start creating more personal finance related videos because I truly believe that a big part of being less shitty and feeling less shitty is having control of your personal finances. I talked about this before, but growing up in a first generation immigrant household, money was something that was always talked about because we just did not have enough of it. It was something that would always bring us a lot of stress and arguments, and it's just, yeah, money doesn't buy happiness, but not having enough of it brings you a shit ton of stress and anxiety, and it's just draining, to always think about money and your debt in such a negative light. It really wears you down, and that's something that I have personally seen firsthand in my parents. So, moving forward, it's something I don't want to have to go through again, my family, and it just sucks for everyone. So I think the more we talk about it and the more we stop kind of putting it aside, the more we can actually start, deconstructing it and getting a better grasp on it. So yeah, today I'm just going to be sharing my personal finance goals and just going over my thought process. With that being said, obviously I'm not a professional, financial advisor. I'm just sharing what I'm doing and what works for me, and hopefully it can help somebody out. So for myself this year, I have 5 main priorities. The first one being to build a more robust emergency fund. So I currently do have an emergency fund. However, it's just not big enough. I think 2020 taught all of us that nothing is for certain and to expect the unexpected, and just shit's gonna happen and life is just gonna throw a big pile of horse shit your way and you're just gonna have to deal with it. So ideally, I wanna build up to a 6-month emergency fund where if I were to make absolutely no money for 6 months, I would be fine through that emergency fund. Another thing I'm gonna be putting money aside for is a sinking fund. So if you guys have never heard of a sinking fund, it's basically where you put away money for a big expense, whether that is like a house reno or a down payment or whatever. For myself, it's gonna be for relocating in the next 2 years. I don't know where it's gonna be. I don't know when it's gonna be specifically. I don't know how long it's gonna be. It's gonna be temporary for sure because I do wanna live in Vancouver. But yeah, as we all know, moving is very expensive. I have been moving every single year for like the past 5 years, so I should know best. But who knows? It might be to a different country, a different continent. So I gotta save up. So that's gonna be my relocating sinking fund. The next thing I wanna contribute more money to is helping pay off my parents' debt. I feel like this is a pretty foreign concept to the majority of my friends and people in North America because, in Western society, you live with your parents until you're 18 or 20, whatever, and then after that you pay them rent or you move out. And it's just a very different dynamic compared to Eastern cultures where, your parents take care of you until they literally can't anymore, and then you help take care of them. But because my parents are first generation immigrants, when they came from Korea, they literally had to give up their lives, their work, their friends, and come to Canada for a better life for our family, and start working at these like shitty part-time jobs. And obviously life happens and debt accrues, and it's just really something I wish I could do a lot more of. But ever since I graduated, with my own personal training business, and then I did the whole freelancing, and now I'm a YouTuber, so it's not like I ever had the typical like corporate salary that I can like always give my parents a certain amount. It's always been up to this point very inconsistent. Sometimes it'd be a lot, sometimes it'd be less, but now thankfully I am a lot more consistent as an independent content creator. I want to contribute more to that. The next 2 categories are definitely lower on my priority list. The first one being my investment portfolio. Now the whole investments and stock world is something definitely new and foreign to me. I only got into it, I want to say end of last year, and I honestly don't know much about it, so I don't feel comfortable giving you guys advice on like where to invest your money. I'm currently invested in a few different areas right now, but because I'm not putting a huge sum of money into my investment portfolio, I'm not too worried about losing out on a lot of money or not. Obviously I'm being very safe with it and just seeing a lot of consistent slow growth over a long period of time. I feel like that's kind of my more investment strategy. But I feel like once I do get more into it, maybe next year when it's higher up on my priority list, then I can really seek a financial advisor and see how they can help me out. But as of right now, it's definitely a low priority because the other ones I think are a bit more important in my life right now. And the last priority I have this year when it comes to my personal finances is going to be my student debt. Now, I know a lot of you guys are cringing at that because you're like, oh, you have student debt, you should be paying off that first. However, you know, the interest rate on my student debt is so low that, you know, I am more than okay paying those monthly payments. And then once I have a bit more financial flexibility, I can really start putting those big lump sums on the student loans. But I've been making those payments for many years now. And, you know, it's just something that is recurring. And obviously I do want to pay it off as fast as I can. But, you know, when you're dealing with generational debt and not having a solid emergency fund, I think that has to come first. But yeah, like I mentioned, this is just what I'm doing. You know, it's impossible to get the full story from a 12-minute YouTube video. At the end of the day, you know your personal situation best, you know your family situation best. So just prioritize what, you know, you want to pay off and what you want to save off based on your life. All right, so next let's actually go into the breakdown of how I'm gonna be dividing everything up when it comes to my earnings. So 40% of my monthly income is going to my personal living expenses. So that's everything from rent, food, utilities, groceries, the miscellaneous, business expenses, all of that is going into 40% of my monthly income. And it becomes a little bit tricky when you don't have a set monthly income. Sometimes when I earn lots, my personal expenses only take up like 10 to 20% of my monthly income, and some months it's closer to 50%. So it really depends, and I think it's important to be flexible with your expenses, however, still have a good idea of where your money is going. The next big chunk is going to be going towards my emergency fund, so about 20%. Now, I'm gonna be talking about what I'm gonna be doing after I hit my 6-month emergency fund, which should be met by probably early Q3. I should be pretty set for that and have that aside. And then during the time I'm contributing to my emergency fund, I have around 15% going to my parents, 10% to that sinking fund, 10% in investments, and 5% to student loans. And then once I hit the threshold for that emergency fund, I'm going to be dividing it between my parents as well as the sinking fund. So at that point, hopefully I'm seeing 25% going to my parents as well as around 20% going to the sinking fund. I also forgot to mention that I am joining the 1% for the planet. If you guys haven't heard of it, it's a charitable organization where you donate 1% of your earnings to a environmental cause. I actually first heard about it through Levi, and he joined it through his YouTube channel. And I believe he's the first YouTuber to join 1% for the planet. So who knows, I might be the second. And yeah, I know that 1% isn't a ton, but you know, I think it's a great start. And I think it's awesome that there's a way for you guys to indirectly contribute, because every time you watch an ad, every time you use a link for the affiliate, every time there's a sponsor on the channel, all of that is gonna go towards that 1%. So I'm just really excited to start giving back, because growing up in this like money scarcity mindset, that was something that we were just never really able to do, because we just did not even have enough for ourselves. So the fact that we can start in this way, you know, for that 1% for the planet, and then hopefully in the years to come I can do a lot more. But yeah, I think this is a cool way to get started and get you guys involved in it as well. All right folks, so that's pretty much it for this video. Those were some of my personal finance goals going into this year. You know, within our society, money is still very taboo. People are very secretive and people are very ashamed of their financial status. But I really think the more we talk about it and the more we open up about it, we can all start being a lot more confident with our financial situation. If you are in that money scarcity mindset where, you know, money and personal finances gives you a lot of anxiety and, you know, stress, just understand, you know, it will get better. However, just ignoring it and putting it aside isn't going to help it. Actually, take a look at your finances, take a look at your earnings, just lay everything down, take a breath, and just be okay with it. I think it's really important to start the dialogue within yourself before you can actually think of strategies to actually tackle on your personal finances. But yeah, hopefully this video was insightful and helped some of you guys out. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up, share with your friends and family. I'll see y'all tomorrow, and remember to be less shitty. Thanks guys.